CNA
Why are you not singing?
because I quit band.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Wait, just like it is really hard to do.
His race conditions are following.
It's very straightforward.
Yeah, yeah.
Say a couple of words about Pathfinders, and then we should get down on it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Andrew, one of the pastors here. Great to have you here today. Great to have our Pathfinders here today and their families. So yeah, if you're here with the Pathfinders and you're not a regular at Livingston, we're really glad to have you here today. Welcome, welcome. Just want to let you know a few things that are happening. There's a lot happening here in spring, so I hope you're keeping up. We have got, well, last night we had a great bonfire night, so thanks to Steve Jones for having us out at their place. That was really good. And we have a lunch next Saturday after our 2 services. Next week we've got the Christian worship band Spectrum. Wayne Turner and friends will be here for the praise service, and they're always good value. And then we've got Megan and the Youth Church crew for the second service. So it's one of those weeks it'd be worth coming to church twice because they're both going to be quality. But then we've got a lunch on, a soup and buns lunch. We're asking, the deaconesses will provide soup, but we're asking if Livingston families could bring some finger food dessert. So if you could plan to do that, that would be good. And somewhere in the middle of lunch, we're expecting a busload of people to turn up because it is the City of Gosnell's Places of Worship Open Day. And we are on the bus route, or one of the bus routes. So at around 12:45, there'll be some people turning up. We're going to give them a bit of a tour. We would encourage you to be nice to them and welcome them. And we'll have some displays here. And so I know some of you are probably thinking, I'd rather go home and eat my own lunch in my own house. But we'd encourage you next week to hang around, have some soup, which I'm sure will be tasty, bring some dessert, and welcome people that come. Now, there may be other people that turn up during the morning or afternoon. And in fact, City of Gosnells is saying there is still room on the buses. So if you're not planning to sort of come here, but you'd like to wander around and see a few different churches and mosques and temples and things, there are still places available through the City of Gosnell's website. So it's an exciting day next week and an opportunity to welcome our community. We also, not this Monday, the Monday after, we have our, what is basically our annual general meeting. So we have our business meeting, a members meeting, reports on the Monday night, and we would invite you to come along and hear what's happening and what's not happening, what's going well and what needs work. All our different leaders will report on that night, and there will be information coming out to you this week which you can pre-read. We also have our family camp coming up in 2 weekends' time, and we haven't had as many bookings as in previous camps. It's still a goer, but there's plenty of room for a few more people. So if you are thinking about coming and have not yet signed on the dotted line, we need to know by tomorrow night. So if you can contact Nikki Ashmore, if you don't know how to do that, come and see me later. You're welcome to come to our family camp at Bustleton, but we need to know really soon. And at the end of the month, we're going to have the Bible in Bloom, which is a fantastic flower display, a floral display based on Bible themes. That's always good value. It only happens once every 2 or 3 years. So come along every 3 years. There you go. It's not to be missed. And you can take some flyers even now and start inviting your friends. 2 more things. If you haven't filled out the AUC survey, they would love to hear from you. That's our church in Australia. There are hard copies available in the foyer. I think the scanner code is in your bulletin. You can even do it surreptitiously right now or this afternoon. It needs to be done by this weekend, so that's done. And last but not least, we are having a memorial service for John Harders here on Thursday. Condolences to Rosemary, his mum who's here, and many of you would remember Darren, his brother, and Lockie and all the crew who are now over east. But yeah, sadly John passed away, and we're going to have a memorial service on Thursday at 2 p.m. for those who would like to come. All right, Declan, come on up, and we're going to have great fun with the Pathfinders, and thanks to Carlia and all the crew who are doing this.
Good morning, Livingston. Welcome to the Livingston Pathfinder Church. And, yeah.
Good morning, church. It's been a pretty long week for all of us, and I'm pretty sure you guys have had a really long week as well. But we also have a friend next to us. So could you please stand and sing Friend of God?
Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call? Is it true that you are thinking of me, how you love me? It's amazing. Is it true that you are thinking of me, how you love me? It's amazing. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend. God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. He calls me friend. You call me friend.
Thank you for singing. Mike, you can't sit down yet. We're going to sing a new song. You might recognize the name, but it's definitely not the same song. It's called This Is the Day. It sounds really complicated. You'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. But, yeah, this is the day. Oh. Why isn't it coming through? You should start it because mine has suddenly decided to break. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and we lift His name. This is the day that the Lord has made. Come and rejoice. rejoice, we will rejoice and be glad. It's the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice as we lift His name. This is the day that the Lord has made.
Come and rejoice, we will rejoice and be glad in it. Whether the sun will shine, whether the skies will rain, I know that you are good. This is the day you made. Whether in life or death, whether in joy or pain, I know the truth remains that this is the day you made. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice as we lift His name. This is the day that the Lord has made. Come and rejoice, we will rejoice and be glad in it. I can walk in faith, you will protect my way. Your every work is good, and this is the day you made. I am a child of yours, you are the one who saves. I am redeemed by love, and this is the day you made. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice as we lift His name. This is the day that the Lord has made. Come and rejoice, we will rejoice and be glad in it.
This is the day, come and sing your praise, for the Lord now reigns on the throne of grace. Soon is the day He will bring us home, and we have His hope, for we are His own. This is the day, come and sing your praise, for the Lord now reigns on the throne of grace. Soon is the day He will bring us home, and we have His hope, for we are His own. That the Lord has made, we will rejoice as we lift His name. This is the day that the Lord has made. Come and rejoice, we will rejoice and be glad. Come and rejoice, we will rejoice and be glad. Whether the sun will shine, whether the skies will rain, I know that you are good, and this is the day you made. Thank you for singing.
Thank you, teens and Pathfinders. That was great. It's good to do a new song. It's a bit scary. I tried it myself a few weeks ago with Derek, and it was a bit scary. So it's good to do a new song. They did rather well. Okay, now we need to do a Father's Day thing. We want to tie it to Pathfinders. So we have a number of quality dads involved in Pathfinders. And I'm going to invite them to come up the front. Now, dads, it is tempting to embarrass you today, but in the spirit of Father's Day, we're going to praise you, okay? So fear not. If you come up, we won't be asking the colour of your underpants or anything. So what we need the following dads, if they're in the house, and at least one child. So you can talk amongst yourselves, kids, about who comes up. But yeah, so Nathan, if you're here, come on up. Sean, Ransom, Nick and Dave, come on up and bring a child with you. Okay, kids, so this is the question, okay? Here we go. Oh, here he is. Got on your Ransom. Where's Nick? We need Nick and Nick. There we go. Excellent. Thank you. You almost escaped. All right. So this is the question for Father's Day. Something your dad is really good at. Okay? And we'd like at least a sentence. Okay? So, if it's like washing the car, say, how come he's so good at washing the car? Now, it's probably something more exciting than that. Okay, so something your dad is really good at. So say your dad's name is something he's really good at. Lizzie, we'll start with you. This is
Dad.
Yeah. Whose real name is?
Dad.
Yeah.
No, just jokes. This is Ramson.
Yeah.
He's good at being a dad. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like.
Like he
You need evidence here, it's like the
cooks us
court.
food.
He cooks you food. Nice. Well done. All right, let's give Ransom a clap. All right. Cameron, what's your dad's name?
Nathan.
Very good. What's he good at?
Running.
Yeah? Can he run a long way? Or short?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good? Cool. Very good. Okay. Thank you. Let's give Nathan a clap. Well done. Pass it on. Lincoln, what's your dad's name?
Sean.
Yeah. What's he good at?
Lighting fires.
That is true. Sometimes the eyebrows survive, sometimes they don't. All right. Well done. Let's give Sean a clap. Thank you. All right. Jacob, who's your dad?
This is Dave, and
Yep.
he's really good at telling stories.
Ah, very good. Excellent. Let's give Dave a clap. Excellent. And Nick Jr., your dad's name is?
Yep, Nick.
Yep.
Same name.
Yeah,
yep. And he's good at cooking and just, I don't know, hanging out with his kids.
Nice. Very good. Let's give Nick a clap. Very good. Well, we just want to say thank you, dads, for investing in Pathfinders, and thank you, all the dads. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. Good on you. Okay, we're about to meet another courageous dad and family. So, Barry, if we could just have a few pictures. We're going to just have a quick look at what Noah gets up to while Noah and his family come on up. So let's roll those pictures. It's okay, Noah. You want to watch the pictures? Watch the pictures. Is that you, buddy? Is that you? Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Oh, no. Oh, well.
Oh, it was chocolate. It was chalky. There you go. He looks pretty happy. There we go. Excellent. All right. Turn around and face the audience, crew. Well, this is Carl and Billy Joe, and they're very courageous. I'm very sympathetic for them because, like us, they have 4 and they had twins. So, yeah, we have been through the valleys of joy and suffering together. I know how you feel. So we've got, let me see if I get it right here, Matthew, Zach, and let me consult my cheat notes, Nathaniel. Sorry, Nathaniel. Oh, man. And we've got Noah as well. So there we go. So life is exciting in the Whitehurst family. And we are wanting to dedicate Noah to Jesus, which is good. Because it's not easy bringing up kids. It's not easy bringing up boys. And you need all the help you can get. No, you've got supportive family and friends. But we really want Jesus to be a big part of Noah's upbringing. And I'm sure his brothers will support him as well, as you're seeing right now. And so, yeah, we just want to, and I guess, much as you watch over Noah, Jesus watches over him more carefully. He's got a good head of hair there, unlike the guy that's about to pray for him. And Jesus has counted how many hairs are on that head. So, we better get on with the praying, I think. But fear not. We hope as a Livingston Church family, you'll always feel supported by us, and we hope that Noah will feel supported by Jesus. Noah, are you going to have a cuddle with me? We're going to try this out. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this. You going to come here? Hey, how you going? You all right? Hey, there we go. Can we pray? Quick, everyone pray before chaos happens. Let's bow our heads. Dear Jesus, thank you that you love us so much. Thank you that you love Noah so much. Continue to bless Carl and Billy Joe as parents, and bless Noah. May he always know that you're with him, that you love him. May his life be full of the fruits of the Spirit, and may you bless him that he can be a blessing to the world around him. In Jesus' name, go guys. Amen. Good on you, Noah. Woohoo. Give him a clap. Well done, guys. See you later.
Now offering time. I'm Liam, and today's offering and tithes go towards the church budget.
We invite you to kneel and pray with us now.
Dear Jesus, thank you for the wonderful week we've had, and please bless the people who are sick and can't be here today.
And please bless the speakers and that the sermon goes well, and also pray that the offering helps people in need.
Please help the fathers so that they can have fun tomorrow, and keep the fathers safe tomorrow, and the weather to help everyone drive safely. Amen.
Could I have all the kids and all the teens and anybody that still feels like they're a child to come up to the front to sing Jesus is My Superhero? Stay for the story, sorry.
All right. We're going to have the kids.
Ah.
We're going to have. Okay. Okay. So, today our story is about Elijah. All right. So Elijah was an old man in the Old Testament who risked his life to do things for God. So for this story, I'm gonna need some of my Pathfinder friends to come help me with this. So over here we've got we've got King Ahab's guards, we've got King Ahab himself, and we've got Elijah. All right, so they're gonna act out what I'm reading pretty much. So, King Ahab was a powerful king. He was strong and intimidating. Everyone listened to him and did what he said, but he wasn't a good king. He led God's people to worshiping idols instead of God. Elijah was one of God's prophets. Elijah was close to God, and he would pray every... and he would pray every day. And he would pray every day. He would also give people messages from God. One day, God gave Elijah a message for King Ahab. So Elijah went to Ahab, and the guards let Elijah in to see the king. Then Elijah said to King Ahab, there would be no rain in Israel for a few years. Then he left real quick. The guards chased after Elijah, but they lost him. God told Elijah where to hide, and no one could find him. The guards searched for Elijah, but they couldn't find him anywhere. When the guards couldn't find Elijah anywhere, they returned to King Ahab and told him they couldn't find him. King Ahab was so angry. It hadn't rained in a couple of years, so he sent them out again to look for Elijah. They searched and they searched and they searched some more, and they searched a little more, and they couldn't find him. They kept looking some more. Three years later, the guards were still looking for Elijah, but instead, Elijah found them. Little mishap. So Elijah. Oh, no. While the gods looked everywhere for Elijah, God had been taking care of him. God had been sending ravens to carry food to Elijah. God had sent Elijah to a river where he could drink water. God took care of him every day while he was hiding from the king. It hadn't rained for a couple years, so when they found him, they couldn't believe it was Elijah. They were so worried they would lose him again. But Elijah was ready to see the king after 3 years. The guards brought Elijah to King Ahab. Elijah told King Ahab that it was time to gather all of Israel and meet on a mountain so they could see who the true God of Israel was.
It is time to gather all the Israelites on the mountain.
Elijah let the king's side go first. The guards, who are now also the king's prophets, built an altar to their God. They prayed to their God all day and asked him to send fire. When the king's men couldn't get their God to send fire from heaven, Elijah started making fun of them. He joked that their God might have been asleep. After trying all day, their God did not send fire from heaven. The king's prophets stopped feeling defeated and embarrassed with their heads down. Then Elijah stepped up, ready to show people God's power. Before he prayed to God, he poured water all over the altar so no one could say that he lit it himself. Then he prayed. As soon as Elijah finished praying, God sent fire from heaven. All of Israel saw that God was the one true God. They all turned back to God and worshipped him. When Israel was worshiping God again, Elijah prayed for God to send rain again. After 3 years of no rain, God sent rain to Israel again. Elijah was able to lead Israel back to God because he said yes to God even when it was hard. You can go back to your seat.
Hi, I'm Elsie, and I'm one of the Pathfinders in Livingston. And today I've been given the courage to do the sermonette for all of you guys. And I knew what I was going to talk about when Kalia came and told me, Elsie, come do the sermon. I was going to talk about the survival camp and my experience there. But then I thought when our Pathfinder Day comes, 2 weeks or 3 weeks before it comes, Mr. Bishop is going to come up to me and say, Elsie, I need entertainment again, and I want you to say what happened at the survival camp. So I was like, oh, we have to change it up. So I'm just going to talk probably about my experience from Pathfinders when I first joined Pathfinders, which is in 2020, till now. And the theme is what has made me uncomfortable and how the Lord has helped me just get comfortable and confident the way I am. See? I'm not always confident, but I try. And basically, when I first came in 2020, I would not say I was confident the way I was. I would not even think I'd be standing up in a whole congregation talking about A, B, or C. I would not. But I guess praying, and then the Lord also helped me. It also brought me out of my comfort zone, and it was uncomfortable at first because I did not know quite a lot of people, and being labeled as a new girl every time is not always the best, because it's always, this is the new girl, teach her how to do this, teach her how to do that, so you never get like to feel as if you are actually there. And time went, my friends were welcoming, luckily, and I came for Pathfinders. It was very different compared to what we were doing in Africa. So like, you had to adjust, you really had to adjust. It was not just Elsie come, act who you are, start being goofy. No, it was not that way. You had to like actually adjust and be like, yeah, you guys kind of understand me, how it feels being the new girl. And then Mr. Bishop came up to me and said, Elsie, I need you to do the flag raising. I don't know how to do the flag raising. I don't like doing the flag raising. It was very uncomfortable. So I was like, I'm never going to do this. Mr. Bishop was like, Elsie, it's okay if you make a mistake. I don't want you to be perfect. All I want is for you to give it a go, and you walk up there saying, at least I've given it a go, and you go back and perfect it. So I went, and I was in the 3 lines, I forgot what they're called, but I was there. And my prayer, I said it in my heart, I was like, if I fail, I'm going to get out of this room, I'm going to run out. Because it was just too uncomfortable. All eyes were on me, so if I made a mistake, obviously, all were going to go, ah. Or it was going to be like, Elsie, you did this, Elsie, you did that. So it was just too much. But I just prayed. I was like, Lord, if anything happens, just be with me. Just keep me calm. And I did it good. I was not the one who was doing it. I was just there folding it. So, like, I learned how to do it. And when I got off there, I was happy because I did manage to do what was uncomfortable for me. And there's a saying, I think it's my saying, I made it up. It was, yeah, I made it up. I think it's no, I need to reword it. Guys, okay. Do something that makes you uncomfortable for it to be comfortable. So what it basically means is if I'd not yet done what I did, if I'd not yet done the flag raising, it was still going to be uncomfortable. I was not even going to believe in myself. But because I did it, I now feel a lot more comfortable than I was the first time. And that's all that matters. You don't need to be perfect to be recognized. And the verse I have is, is Joshua 1 verse 9, which says, have I not commanded ye? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That just basically means that the Lord is still with you anywhere you go. Don't feel as if he has left you just because you're now in a whole situation that does not have a ending, that you feel as if that does not have an ending. Every situation has an ending, and yeah, you can do it. If I can do it, I'm sure all of you guys can do it. Most of you guys are all grown adults, and I'm like 14, and I'm too confident, and I'm sure all of you guys can. Just forget about what everyone says and focus on yourself. Though it makes you uncomfortable, it's going to build you up. Same as the survival camp. I'm just going to spill a little bit before I spill a lot. When I went last year, I thought it was a normal camp. But when the first day I did it, the first night, I was soaked up. The first night, I was like, this is way out of my comfort zone. I'm no longer doing it. But guess who went back this year? It was me. And this year was kind of better. And I went back because I just wanted to, it was my last year. It's my last year in Pathfinders. I also did it because I live once. I also did it due to the fact that I just wanted to overcome the fear that I had last year. And when I went back this year, felt more comfortable. A lot of people had told me, Elsie, you're going to be fine. Elsie, you're going to do this. And I did feel that way. I felt more comfortable. And I would recommend, not all of you guys, because you guys are now old, but, but the kids, the small kids that are still growing up, I would recommend you guys to all, do Pathfinders. It brings you out of your comfort zone. You get to experience stuff you've never experienced. I did hiking, which I never thought I would do. That was way too uncomfortable, but I did it. I'm still alive. That's all that matters. I'm still alive. I'm not hurt. And I still have the smile. I still have the voice. Everything is okay. The only thing that would change is the confidence and how more like you have grown closer. And I've also grown closer to God with just praying to Him about how I feel, because Pathfinders sometimes can be draining. Either way, it can be draining. I feel bad for all my teachers because I can be a hassle. But it can be draining, but it does teach you lifelong lessons that you will need in the future, whether you know it right now or you don't know it right now. And I feel as if that's all I have. Kalia's gonna come, finish it all up. This was just a little story time, just to get you in the mood of church. And I hope you guys enjoyed, because I was so nervous, and I am so nervous.
Thank you, Elsie. On Pathfinder expedition, on our overnight camp, I was hiking with Elsie, and I was at the back because I totally chose to be at the back, not because of my fitness level. And she was at the back, and there was Lizzie and there was Halle, and they were just talking about God and everything. And I was like, "Oh, Elsie, you'll be great at preaching." And she goes, "Yeah, I got this, Carly. I got this. I'll make you look good." So it's gonna be tough to follow that up, Elsie. So our Pathfinder Day theme this year is Change the World. And I looked at that, and it's quite broad, changing the world. And the people that we're going to look at today, they changed the world, but they also felt incredibly uncomfortable changing the world. So I'm really glad that Elsie spoke about how being uncomfortable, and sometimes we've got to get out of our comfort zone. I also want to tie it in with our Stormco church service that we had last week, which was about stepping up, and that when God calls us to step up, that's what we need to do. We need to listen to that. My sermon title today is called "Because I Said So." And once upon a time, a long time ago, I was a child. Some would argue I still am, but I was physically a child. And 3 months ago, I was childless, and now I have about 20 kids that I look after every second week at Carmel, 20 teenagers. And there's one in particular that will come into the office, and we'll be sitting and we'll be chatting, and then she'll ask me a question, and I'll give her the answer, and she'll go, "Why?" And I'll give her the second answer, and "Why? Why, miss? Why?" I also get called miss a lot, more than I thought I would. "Why, miss? Why?" And it got to this stage where I would do what I swore I would never do, and I turned around and I said, "Because I said so." And then I get out of the office. And that's the thing, as adults, I don't know how many of you have been guilty of saying "because I said so," but I've been saying it a lot more than I thought I would. And I've also been saying it with the Pathfinders. Declan will say, "Can I go light a fire?" And I would say no. And he would say, "Why?" And I would say, "Because there's a fire ban." And he would say, "Why?" And then I just turn around and say, "Because I said so," and just walk off. And "because I said so" kind of has a bit of a bad rep, because a lot of the time it's used to just hope that people would just accept the answer and move on. But that doesn't normally happen. "Because I said so" to me means trust me. Trust me that I've thought of all the things that I could possibly think of that you're going to ask me. I've thought of every scenario, and it's going to take me 2 hours to explain my thought process. You have the attention span of 1 minute. I cannot condense it in that much. Because I said so was about 4 words. Please just trust me on this. And then they walk out in a huff and like, that's not good enough. Sometimes God will lead us somewhere, or an opportunity will come up, and we'll ask God, is this you? And all the while we're hoping, please say no, please say no, please say no. This is not you, this is not you. We'll get called up for a job, or as the church's favourite time of the year is coming up, nominating committee. And everyone learns who the nominating committee is. And they'll see them walking up to them and they're like, oh, wow, I've got a very important conversation to have with somebody else. I'll avoid them. And we'll be like, God, is this you? Is this you asking me what to do? Is this you telling me that this is the path I should take? But please, please just say no, because I am so comfortable where I am. I am comfortable and I have made my decision. And meanwhile, and the idea is so scary, and we have all these excuses not to do it. We have all the excuses not to go for that new job. We have all the excuses not to do that new thing. Oh my gosh, I had so many excuses not to go hiking when I was a Pathfinder. So many. And I managed to wiggle my way out of most of them. But as a leader, I couldn't do that. But meanwhile, God is trying to get us to be quiet long enough for him to tell us why he is leading us where he wants us to go. Now, one of the most famous instances of saying no to God is, of course, does anyone want to take a guess? Jonah. Now, I've put Jonah in nearly every sermon, so we're going to just cast him aside today. I'm sorry, Jonah. Not you, buddy. So I want to look at someone else, and I've just realized my Bible is on my seat. So Pastor Megan is going to bring up my Bible that's not on my seat. Hey, you found it. Cheers. So we're going to look at Moses first up, because last week Pastor Megan talked about stepping up, and he used David. She used David as an example of someone who stepped up. But in David's case, he saw the need, had faith in God that God would back him up, and then defeated Goliath. But what about those who are reluctant to say yes? Those who are reluctant to sort of step up when the time calls for it. So if you want to turn your Bibles, get your Bibles out. And we are going to go to Exodus. And while you're looking for it, I'll just keep talking. So we have Moses. Now, for those of you who don't know the life of Moses, here's a quick recap. Moses was meant to die as a baby. The Pharaoh of Egypt felt threatened by the Israelites' growing population. So he said that all baby boys needed to be thrown into the Nile, and they were killed. His mother came up with the genius situation of putting him in a basket and putting him in the Nile. The Pharaoh's daughter was bathing in the Nile, found Moses, decided to adopt him, but didn't want to care for him while he was a baby. So Miriam, Moses' sister, had the genius idea that his biological mother would raise him. He then went back to the royal family when he was of age, and then he killed an Egyptian man who was beating an Israelite slave. He fled Egypt, settled down, had a family, and then a burning bush started burning up when he was out working. And so I want to look at chapter 3, verse 11. So during this burning bush, God calls him. And if we actually go to verse 7, and he says, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I'm concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them out of the land of good and bring them out of that land into a good, spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites and the Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And then in verse 12, God said, I will be with you, And this will be the sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. I will be with you. Now, he gives a couple of excuses. The first excuse is in verse 13. Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me, and they ask you, what is his name? Then what should I tell them? So his first excuse is essentially, I don't know you. I won't have all the answers. Like, what do I say? And so God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you say to the Israelites. I am has sent you. And then we come up with a second excuse. What if they don't believe me, is found in chapter 4. What if they don't believe me or listen to me and say the Lord did not appear to you? And so God answers that question and he says, what is that in your hand? A staff, he replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground and it became a snake and he ran from it. And then in verse 10, there's a third excuse. I can't speak. In verse 10, O Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue. And God's reply is, who gave man his mouth? Who makes him deaf or mute? Who gives him sight or makes him blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and teach you what to say. And then we get to like the real thing that Moses is trying to say, and that's in verse 13. But Moses said, O Lord, please send someone else. The whole point of this speech to Moses was Moses was trying to convince God and for God to be like, okay, my bad. My bad, guys. Moses, you're right. Stay with your family. You're right. You can't really talk. You don't really know who I am. Let's just say that you stay here and I'll go find someone else. You have a brother, right? I'll use your brother. But God answered each and every question until Moses said, "O Lord, please send someone else to do it." And then in verse 14 it says, then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and his heart will be glad when he sees you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. And basically then he's like, off you go. Because I said so. Trust me. You've got this. Because I am with you. The whole point of this passage is God's just saying, I will be with you and till the end. And when it was obvious that Moses was just going to keep going and going and going, God's like, okay, let me stop you right there. Start your journey. Your brother's waiting for you. I will help you speak. And so Moses went off, and now the journey of Israel is extremely long. It's like 4 books in the Bible. And it's filled with stress. It's filled with people who just don't cooperate. It's filled with people who complain. He got the Israelites out of Egypt. They crossed the Red Sea. And then in the next passage, they're complaining because they're like, oh my gosh, we had it so much better in Egypt because we don't know the path that's in front of us. It's an unfinished jigsaw. We've got to guess the picture. Except that we're human, so we can't guess the picture. But God sees it all. And the idea of trusting God into the unknown to us feels extremely foreign. It's like doing a trust fall exercise with someone, but you can't see the person behind you. You've been called up to the stage, told that behind the curtain someone's going to catch you, so just fall. And it takes everything in you to just fall. This is the season right now where graduates from Avondale, people who didn't get picked up the previous years, and pastors get the call to go. And the thing is that they're comfortable. Not the theology students, they're not comfortable. They're in limbo. But you kind of are like, I don't want to go. Send someone else. I'm fine. And because we're so loud in our heads We don't really listen to God's plan for us. And it's not just pastors and theology students. It's anybody who gets called to a new job. It's anybody that gets asked to do something for church. It's even the smallest things. It's going up to a stranger and telling them that Jesus loves them. It's those things that we're just like, it's too uncomfortable. Moses was called by God to save a nation. He didn't make it to the promised land, and a successor had to lead the Israelites in. And the successor was Joshua. And I just want to read the first couple of verses of Joshua. So Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 to 9. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I'm about to give them to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set foot, as I promised to Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon and from the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country, to the great sea on the west. So no one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to the forefathers to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the left or to the right, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let the book of law depart from your mouth. Meditate it every day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it, and then you'll be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Now, after this message was given, a couple of chapters later, they come across Jericho. And for those of you who don't know what happened with Jericho, Jericho was probably the weirdest war I've ever read about. So this was how Jericho was defeated. It was walked around. Israelites just walked around it. And they like this angel of the Lord appeared to Joshua. He's newly appointed, and he goes, okay, Jericho, we've got to defeat it. What I want you to do is I want you to walk around the city once for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, I want you to walk around it 7 times. And then the horns will blast, you'll scream, and the walls will come down. Now, I don't have an engineering degree, because that would take probably double the amount of time my theology degree took. But there's no Greek, so maybe it would be less. But I don't think that's how walls work, mainly because otherwise the boarding house will be knocked down by now because of the amount of time those kids run around it. But the idea that you're going to tell your army that we're just going to walk around, guys. We'll have our armed guards out the front. We're going to intimidate them to knock down their walls. And but God delivered. The walls knocked down. But imagine giving that instructions to your army. The people who had heard from their ancestors of the Red Sea but didn't really believe it and hadn't really seen too much miracles except for the manna coming down from earth and a bunch of other stuff. But they're being told, if you just walk around the city, the walls are going to crumble. Like, surely there was some sort of, at least one person in that nation who piped up and went, well, this seems ridiculous. We're going to die. They're going to kill us. And yet the walls came down. I also want to talk about briefly Gideon. Gideon is in Judges, which is the next book after Joshua. So Israel has been established, and we have Gideon. And the story of Gideon is that he has like the weakest army, and God's like, Gideon, I want you and your army to save Israel. And he's like, why? My army is so little, it's so weak. What are you doing? And in verse 16, again, it says, I will be with you. Gideon helped deliver Israel. And Gideon was someone who was reluctant to do so, just like Moses. Joshua was a bit more willing, but I reckon at the Jericho thing, he'd probably be like, what have I signed up for? Moses didn't want it. Gideon didn't want it. And then if we look at Jeremiah as well, a prophet of Israel, he didn't want it. And his book starts with his call as well. And I just want to read it out for you guys when I find it. It's Jeremiah chapter 1. The words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, one of the priests of Ananoth in the territory of Benjamin. The word of the Lord came to him in the 13th year of Josiah, son of Ammon, the king of Judah. And through the reign of, that's a really horrible name to say. I'm just going to skip it. Son of Josiah, king of Judah, down to the 5th month of the 11th year of the son of Josiah, king of Judah, when the people of Jerusalem went into exile. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Ah, the sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child. But the Lord said to me, do not say, I am only a child. Which is interesting because like a lot of our Pathfinders might say that. You must go everywhere I send you and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and I will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said, now I have put my words into your mouth. See, today I appoint you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear them down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. And the word of the Lord came to me, what do you see, Jeremiah? I see a branch of an almond tree, I replied. The Lord said to me, you have seen correctly, for I am watching to see that my word is fulfilled. The word of the Lord came to me and said, what do you see? I see a boiling pot tilting away from the north, I said. The Lord said to me, from the north disaster will pour out on all who live on the land. I'm about to summon all the peoples of the kingdom, declares the Lord. And then he goes on, and in verse 17 he says, get ready, get yourself ready, stand up and say to them, whatever I command you, do not be terrified, or I will terrify you before them. Today I have made you a fortified city, an iron pillar and a bronze wall to stand against the whole land, against the king of Judah, its officials, its priests, the people of the land. They will fight against you, but will not overcome you. For I am with you and will rescue you. All these men in the Bible that I've mentioned today, they all have one thing in common. They all changed the world. They all changed Israel. They all saved Israel. Moses delivered Israel from Egypt. Joshua delivered Israel to the promised land. Gideon saved Israel with his army. Jeremiah saved Israel with his message. They all changed the world. And they were all so uncomfortable doing it. Now, I'm not saying God is going to come to you in a burning bush. I'm not saying he's going to touch your mouth and give you the words physically. I'm not saying that he's going to audibly speak to you. And part of that issue is because sometimes we're so loud. Our excuses are just so loud. God is trying to tell your brain to be quiet for just a moment, just so he can tell you what is going wrong. And here's the thing, he never goes to them and gives them the call and then goes, have fun, let me know how it goes. He's with them the whole time. And there were times that he felt far away, like with Elijah. Elijah got the call, he got scared, he ended up hiding, wanting to end his own life, asking for someone to help him. And so God gave him Elisha. Because here's the thing, none of these men were alone. Moses had Aaron. Joshua had the Israelites. Gideon had his army. Jeremiah had Israel, although he probably wished he didn't. None of them were alone. God will never send you in alone. God is always with you. Each of those verses, it says, I will be with you. And this time of the year, when we have our selection committee, when we have our nominating committee, it's so easy to say no when we ask for volunteers. But here's the thing. Sometimes, like your ministry, what you do in your ministry can change someone's life and then empower them to go on and change others' lives too. In Pathfinders, we have kids who haven't even heard of God, and they come in and we are able to teach them about the love of God. And I'm so sure that changes their lives. And to change the world doesn't take something huge. Last week, I had a video for the Stormco people, and there was a song on it called Change the World. And the lyrics to that chorus was, it's a prayer in the empty room, the little things we do when nobody's around, a hand reaching out to a heart in doubt. It's the smallest spark that can light the dark. That's how you change the world. You are not alone. God is with you. When it's time to step up, when it's time to go in the comfort zone, when it's time to change the world, God is with you. And you won't be comfortable. You're not meant to be comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're doing it wrong. If you're too comfortable, then you're too complacent. When you're too comfortable, you start to go, somebody else will do it. I'm sure somebody else will take care of it. If I just not say anything, if I just step back, somebody else will step up and do it. But here's the thing, everybody is thinking that thought. And when everybody thinks somebody else is going to do it, nobody is going to do it. We weren't made to be comfortable. We were made to make a change. We were made to show people God. And so that's my challenge for you this week. And going into starting to plan, in our final quarter, starting to plan for next year, my challenge for you is to step out of your comfort zone. Because remember that God is with you wherever you go. Be strong, be courageous, do not fear, for the Lord is with you. So may you step out of your comfort zone. May you remember that the Lord your God who created you is with you and that you are never alone. And may with the gifts that God has given you, may you work towards changing the world. Amen.
Yeah, is it in tune this time?
It is.
Join us singing our last song, Every Day.
What to say, Lord, is you gave me life and I can't explain just how much you mean to me now. You say, Lord, I give all that I am to you, that every day I can be a light that shines your name. Every day, Lord, I learn to stand up on your word, and I pray that I might come to know you more, that you would guide me in every single step I take, that every day I can be a light unto the world. Every day it's you I live for. Every day I follow after you. Every day I walk with you, my Lord. Every day, Lord, I learn to stand up on your word, and I pray that I It's you I live for every day. I follow after you every day. I walk with you, my Lord. Every day, it's you I live for every day. I follow after you every day. I walk with you, my Lord. It's you I live for every day.
If you'll just bow your heads with me. Hey God, thank you so much that you are with us. That whenever we need to go, wherever you want us to go, that you don't leave us. You tell us to be strong, to be not scared. So Lord, I just pray that when we do, we lean on you. And Lord, may we remember that we are never alone, that you are here with us, that you've put people here with us. And I just thank you so much for your presence. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Now, you may be seated. Before everyone skedaddles, you guys can be seated too, if you want. I just want to invite our district director, Mr. Graham Mitchell, up here. He just wants to say a couple of words.
A couple, yeah, maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, look, being a district director gives me the opportunity to come and bask in the glory that these Pathfinders shine. Thank you, Pathfinders, for your service this morning. It's been very enjoyable. Thank you, Elsie and Carlia, for your message. That sometimes we do have to get out of our comfort zone, don't we, in order to grow. And thank you for that message. Now, normally I would give this kind of speech at the end of the year at the investiture program, but because all of our clubs decided to have their investiture on the same day, and I'm yet to develop this ability to be in more than one place at a time, I probably won't be able to be here for your investiture, so I'm going to make this speech today. So on behalf of the conference, youth department, I just want to thank your church, Livingston Church, for putting on this Pathfinder program for the young people. It really does mean a lot to our whole church. What it provides to these young people and the way that it helps them to grow and develop and prepare them for service in our church is an amazing program. And so we do thank you for your support of this program. Thank you to the leaders, Carlia, Sean, Desiree, Louise, and look, there's a whole bunch. I don't know all your names probably either, but thank you all, everybody who takes part in running this club. Thank you so much for your support. And once again, I know a lot of you guys had to come out of your comfort zone in order to be a part of this, the leadership of the club. And thank you so much for that. And thank you, Pathfinders, too, for coming along and supporting it. I know there's lots of things that young people can be doing, but you choose to be a part of this Pathfinder club. Thank you, Pathfinders, and parents, too. Thank you for your support of this club. And now I feel like I've preached a sermon, but so... Yeah, and thank you, congregation, for coming and supporting your Pathfinders here too. And it really is great to see everybody here today and for me to bask in your glory. So on that note, I'll let everybody do whatever it is they do now. Probably go and have some lunch. Thank you.